Here to get you elevated.
Our conversation pop, you know what it do. Stories in the smoke, welcome to the Spute. Stories in the smoke, welcome to the Spute. Stories in the smoke, welcome to the Spute.
Here to get you elevated. 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 Here to get you elevated.
These guys are awesome.
Greetings, gentle listener. It is I, the faceless voice of the show, Jazzy Jasper Green, here with an announcement to make to you that I messed up. I didn't record backup audio for the last episode of the Spute, and my condenser was acting up, so I didn't use it. So I, unfortunately, for this episode, am going to sound like a bad AM radio talk show. We had a really good conversation about the topic, and we didn't want to re-record it. We thought it was really good. So I have done my best to make it intelligible and not completely ear-piercingly bad, I hope. I would promise you, though, that next episode we will sound even better. Riley just upgraded his mic, too, and we are going to be pretty stringent about using our condensers and not being lazy and using our easy-to-set-up audio. So, without further ado, let's get elevated.
Hold on, I'm gonna take a hit. What's up? It's your boy Riley, the man on the other side of the screen. That's the man with all the qualifications you need. My boy Jazzy Jasper Green, and this is the Spute, and we're here to get you elevated.
Spute, everyone.
Welcome.
We're gonna elevate you about a 100% banger of a movie.
Absolutely. Okay, but before we get there, I gotta stop for one thing. So this is most likely gonna end up being the true episode 2 to the Spute. Obviously we're new. We finally got the first episode down, got all the groundwork running, got ourselves on all the platforms, and it was awesome. In the process of making episode 1, so a little bit of context for this. Me and you have been making music, mainly music, but content and music together for like 7 years, 6 years at this point now. 6 years? Yeah, 7 years ago we were freshmen in college, so like halfway through freshman year is when we really picked up and started our first endeavors together. And we've always had just those moments where one of us has suggested something in a project, and we've both been like, "Ooh!" So we made the opening song. If you can't tell, the voice does kind of sound like me, doesn't it? And in the process of making that, like the actual beat, usually Jazzy's the beat man. I tend to be lyrics, words, rhythm, kind of that guy. And he put a synth in the beat, and it's still in there now. But when he first put it in, I was like, I just don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. And he was like, it's going to fix it up by the end of this. It's going to sound upbeat. Just trust me. And my first thought in my head, which was just completely wrong, but I was like, what the fuck is he going to do? Is he going to hit this shit with all kinds of fucking crazy effects? It's going to go from like a dark dungeonous Sith. It's like, it's going to go from a dark dungeonous Sith to sounding like a really kawaii Japanese girl. Like, oh my God, hello. That's what in my head, when you first told me you were going to fix that synth, that's what it was coming through my head. Like, you're going to take this thing from sounding like the space background noise in a bad sci-fi video game to like sounding like, I don't know, how people imagine the streets of Tokyo sound.
Yeah, no, I was like, I just need just a foundation, just to fill it out a little more. It kind of gives it like almost like a nighttime kind of vibe.
Yeah, no, it gives it
kind of what it's going for.
Yeah, it gives it the Spute feel, because the Spute did come alive at nighttime, that's for sure.
Hell yeah, the Spute came alive at nighttime. That shit was so fucking, like, in hindsight, it was like so risky, but like also kind of fucking perfect.
Yeah, no, I mean, we couldn't have it any other way.
Hell yeah.
And I was the one taking most of that risk, I gotta say, because it was my car that was the Spute. But I didn't give a fuck because that's the person I am.
But it was so great because like the way it was set up was there's like a 3-layer parking lot like on hills. So you got like the bottom area, the middle area, and the top. And we'd always park the Spute in the middle area. But the campus police would always be patrolling the parking lot, but they were lazy as hell because they didn't actually care. So they would just drive around the main part of the parking lot, but we would just be parked in the middle of the middle level. So pretty much no seeing us.
Yeah, they never came close. Never came close to us.
The secretly secluded Spute.
All right, man. So I'm gonna let you introduce our main topic of the day.
Yeah, now let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. But ready. Don't Look Up is a banger of a movie, and mostly because it like I feel like I have like brain sync with it because that is like the cynical ass view I've had on climate change for a long time. And the dude who made that movie, Don't Look Up is a weird one for him. I think his name's Adam McKay. I'm not a movie guy.
I think that's right.
Just content.
Why do we not pull this up?
His first movie was The Big Short, about 2008 financial crisis, and then his second movie was Vice, which is about President Penis Cheney.
I fucking yeah, dude.
Penis Cheney.
Yeah, dude. Former Vice President Penis Cheney, aka shoot you in the face, dick.
War crimes Cheney. But those two movies, like the metaphors work a lot better in those two movies. That's like one of the big criticisms of Don't Look Up, because like there's a through line, and even in like The Big Short, in both those movies, there's like a guy to explain shit to you. You're just like a fucking layperson like me. You don't fucking understand financial stuff. I'm not versed in that, so I need a person to sit there and explain it to me. And with Don't Look Up, the metaphor is like a bit more ham-fisted. You know, like we're facing something existential.
Like that shit was built like this.
Fucking stupid. It's already been explained to you by a person like 100 fucking times by now. You're either with it or you're dumb. You know what I mean? So it's like that. I feel like that's why the metaphor is more ham-fisted. And that was like a big criticism. But like you felt the metaphor was actually good. You know?
Yeah,
Which I did too.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely. I mean, it makes sense just because of the parallel.
Yeah, it's a giant. It's a bunch of different forces of just like raw physics coming together in a way that like we cannot tangibly stop. We can conceptualize it. We know what's going on. But at a certain point, once the ball's in motion, like it's just forces that are so fast, they're just going to wreck our shit. You know?
Yeah.
And like we're seeing that with like all these record storms, record heat waves, you know? Like, it was like, what, last year when Texas got frozen?
Yeah.
You know? Like months before that shit, in the summer, I was reading articles about like how the glacial air had like detached itself from like the North Pole and was coming down to wreck the South. I was reading that shit in August of last year. You know, they called it. We know what the fuck is happening. You know, meteorologists and all the other qualified scientists who are, you know, I guess we can get into that now, but I guess we should first talk about like our fifis, because this was your second watch of the movie too, right?
No, hell no. I watched it the first time, right when it came out. I was at the beach with Caroline and my wife and her family. And so me and my wife watched it, and then we watched it with like her dad and I think her mom and her sister, but I know for a fact her dad. And then I've watched it another time. So this was like number 4 for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
So after watching it like the 4th time, like have your feelings on the movie changed since the first time you watched it?
Not really. I just one, I appreciate a lot of the humor of the movie. So this movie's always I enjoyed it from the first time just because I think it's fucking funny. like just straight up. I mean, it's like a really good criticism, but it's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah, no, they come for a lot of people.
They do, and just like the little humor, like the character, the main scientist character, like just how they play him is just like so funny. I don't know. I think it's great.
About Randall, Dr. Randall.
Oh yeah, yes, Dr. Randall. Just like the way that they make him like fucking kind of shy, but then obviously he blows out. Just like they just threw so much cliche into his character.
He's such a good caricature of an astronomer. Now, if you've never talked to an astronomer before,
Yeah,
you must have.
yeah, dude.
We took an astronomy class together, and what's more funny is that like I'm a professor's kid, and the dude who taught our professors our astronomy class was kind of embarrassing for me because I'd known this dude my whole life, and I was trash in his class. I didn't study very hard. I didn't work very hard, but like just he was like asking us to do like the most basic math that astronomers do on a daily basis. It's like I understood it, but it kicked my ass.
Yeah, but
you didn't have a problem with it.
I know it was fine. I mean, the like day-to-day work was cool, but like the actual like labs that we had to do, that shit was pretty rough.
And that's like kind of like a thing. Like when you get into the higher level science, like that one scene, he's like, it's just the guy's like no math, and he's like, it's all math. It's like, yeah. How the fuck do you think anything works? Is a bunch of math had to go into it to figure everything out to get the, nitty gritty. And I remember asking him because like the first time I saw the movie, I was so perplexed. You know what I mean? I was just like, I did not know what to fucking do after watching it the first time. Because I asked him like a couple years before, he was at our house, our astronomer friend, and I asked him how, like, if we discovered that we had a year to like if there was a big ass planet killer coming to the planet to wreck us, how long, like, if we only had a year, what do you think would happen? And he just immediately, oh, we're all dead. There's no stopping that. We would need at least a decade. And this movie, I feel like, kind of goes into why we would need a decade
to
handle it. I feel like the movie's like that. That's why, like, and having a qualified astronomer tell you that, like, already knowing that going into it, like, I don't know. For all you dumbasses out there who don't think climate change is real, I think we should just go into, like, real quick, like, peer review. What peer review? Like, that's the basis of the scientific method, is peer review.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, it's the core. It's the backbone. It's the only reason why, like, real science, I don't know, like the ability to recreate an experiment in science or to, like, obviously validate the conclusion, for just anything. I mean, it's absolutely the most major part, because without it, you can just say whatever the hell you want. You can literally, I mean, if you don't have peer review, you're just talking. Yeah, if you don't have peer review, you're just talking. That's it.
And it's like, and you have to also consider the level of peer review. What does peer mean in this circumstance? Because, like, I don't know, if you've never met a scientist before, like I said earlier, they are weird people. I've known multiple scientists. They're all weird, The guy who taught me meteorology, which thank you, less math, but still lots of math. We watched the Super Bowl at his house for like 10 years, but it's like, if you're just a dude.
Shout out to Dr. Chain, who was a G.
Yeah, shout out Dr. Cohan.
Yeah, Dr. Cohan, absolute G. Gave us a tool to help me fix my car one day.
What both of them good dudes, but like scientists, like if you're just like a normal person, like you're just a guy, you graduate high school and you went right into the workforce, and you've never met a scientist before. Do you remember the weird smart kid in the back of the class that was like really quiet and like socially awkward and shit? Probably a scientist now. And their world is brutal. They don't fuck around. It's not like your high school science class where like they had to get you to go get through because they don't want to fucking teach you another year. And they kind of like half-ass pass you, like, no, you fail like academia level science, you're failing. You're stupid. Get the fuck out. They don't got time for you. It's a brutal.
It is.
Shit. It's like you either can or you can't in that world.
Yeah.
And it's like those guys are the peer review. So, you're a scientist. You're on that level. You not only have to like figure your shit out and validate your stuff. But then a whole like thousands of dudes who are like on this highest level of being smart also review your shit. So like when something like anthropomorphic climate change, when a majority of these motherfuckers agree on something and it's peer reviewed to a T like this, you know, there's very little arguing with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of why the meteor metaphor, I feel like it does work in a way, because this shit is happening. We are watching it happen.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's a lot of science out there, a lot of good science, like well backed, still actively being researched, and like still foundational understanding stuff for like what we're learning today. That just it's I don't know. It's really hard to just look past it. I remember, so this is like one of those tweet threads that you see on all social medias is like screen grabbed from Twitter. But it was someone like talking shit to Bill Nye, and they were like, how dumb are we listening to a mechanical engineer about climate change? And like Bill Nye replied back to him and was like, yes, I am a mechanical engineer. But to get that degree, I took lots of science. Lots of science. He's like, I know how to read. And then just linked a bunch of like, fucking articles. Just like a bunch of like, not just like articles, but like studies. Like was like linking like straight to like, the good stuff.
Yeah, heavy duty peer reviewed studies. Which, if you're a motherfucker that doesn't like to read stuff, like you gotta take that kind of shit extra slow, because like
you gotta take like medicines.
Yeah, dude. Like, it was like I couldn't survive in the STEM world. I got an English degree. There was no fucking way I was gonna eke it out in that world. I'm just, my brain isn't strong enough in that area. But like through the science classes I was forced to take to graduate, I did gain an understanding of what that world is like. I got like a glimpse into it,
Yeah, I mean, me and you both took, I think, pretty much the same sciences by the end of it. Because if you took meteorology, I also took meteorology. And then we had fucking astronomy together. Also, gotta say, shouts to astronomy. Dude, those telescopes that we used in that class were fucking dope. I still show people a picture I took on my cell phone, like using my cell phone as the lens of the fucking telescope. It was crazy. But yeah, no, like it just even in a very basic level of science, like you just learn a way of thinking and approaching just anything. I mean, the scientific method, like every time you sit there and you're like, I wonder if I like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something really dumb. I wonder if I light this paper towel on fire, throw it in the sink, like I wonder what's gonna happen. Like that right there, technically that's the beginning of the scientific method. It's all about how you approach everything after that really decides what kind of scientist you are.
Yeah. Like, and the other thing with it is like, damn, I kind of lost my train of thought here. But just like, again, just peer review, like at a certain level, like you cannot argue with peer-reviewed science like that, because it's your little brain. It's like 6,000 big brains.
Oh,
It's like you're a dumbass for even attempting this. You like literally, the fact you think you can argue about this shit, the fact you think you can handle this shit in your brain, like you're already a dumbass for even fucking attempting it. Like their world is beyond you, bro. Like just trust me.
Yeah. Also, I mean, you can argue it. You can argue it. I'll say you can argue it, but you better come with a multi-year, like multi-nation backed study. That's all I got. That's what I need. You can argue. You can argue with me, but I'm going to need you to bring your own study with you, because that's the only thing that's going to change my mind.
Like bringing, like I feel like the construction equivalent of this is like bringing a fucking hyper tough drill to a job site where you need a fucking half-inch Milwaukee and
Yeah, dude.
two of them. You need to dual wield them motherfuckers, and you got a fucking in-cat battery little drill trying to do this work. Like, you just can't.
Like dual wielding Milwaukees.
You know, you gotta have the right equipment. You gotta have the right shit for it. And I think that's why the second time watching this movie made me. I was just angry. At the end of it. I was just pissed off. I was like, we're just so fucking stupid. Like, you know, the one scene where the guy who comes out as a evangelical, he's like, if he were to destroy the earth, he would. And I'm like, yeah, he probably should.
He probably would with a really big asteroid coming at us, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of ways that God, I don't like that argument. I remember that scene. Like every time I just think of that, it's like if God wanted to kill us, He would. I'm like, yo, if there's a comet or an asteroid, a planet killer coming at us, like that might be God. Like, it's a pretty good chance that's fucking God. I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah, because we're too fucking stupid to do anything about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, no. Especially because it's probably God. All right. Let's switch it up and push to the next part of this, which is like just best scenes, personal favorite scenes, and like, you know, all that kind of shit. I'll let you go first on that.
Yeah. For me, it was the two scenes. It was the first scene where it's like the halfway point in the movie. It's where they send the first wave of rockets up, and then the president and fucking the guy, the Batman, Peter Israel, like tells her like, hey, now we can mine this bitch for my. You know, if we're gonna let an asteroid hit the Earth off, I want to say it's not a bad idea. If we're gonna let a planet killer hit the Earth for semiconductors, I'm cool with that. We need more semiconductors.
I mean,
semiconductors.
Yeah, it's kind of like a two-way, you know, however it works, because, you know, either we get more semiconductors or we get less people, so more semiconductors in the market. It's a fucking absolute win-win. Dubbas.
I get why he did it, but it's like I felt like physically ill watching that shit, knowing what happens the second time. You know, I was like, I know what's about to happen. I know, and it's like I feel like it's a really brutal comment on like how America has been like handling the climate crisis, because like, you know, there's like a lot of, it's like that scene is like, if it wasn't like a brutal satire, that shit's engineered to make you feel proud to be an American. We're a country that you stand up for shit. We haven't been that country since the fucking 70s, if that.
Man, I fucking love Ron Perlman's character in the movie. He's the fucking, the astronaut.
He's sick.
Dude, that character. Yes. He's about to go to fucking space, representing the, you know, United States, saving the entire world, and just starts spewing it. Just
like, why the Feather Indians and the Dot Indians ever team up?
Oh man, that's no. I mean, hey, you're quoting what I'm pretty sure that's pretty much the direct quote. I think it's
not. But yeah, no, he's like, why don't y'all team up? That'd be sick. Like that's America right there. And then they fucking decide not to do it. You know?
No, they didn't. They didn't just decide not to do it. They catastrophically shut down the program. They blew the motherfuckers up.
I mean, the Sputecast at gmail.com, can you actually shut down a rocket mid-flight? Is that a thing we can do? Like, can we, like, just off the fucking space shuttle
it's
in orbit?
Actually. Yo, that's great. Yeah, no, definitely, yeah. The Sputecast at gmail.com. If you actually know, don't email us. If you don't know, give me your best response.
It's like, and then like the second rocket scene, right? That one, is just like, it's just like maximum cynicism, and I love it because like you've got like the music, like one of those like futurist ads. You know, like have you seen that shit for like the line recently? That like city they're building.
Yes.
It's not like whimsical,
It's
future music where it's like, yeah,
I call it
technology.
Facebook. Oh man, I don't know. It's those videos on Facebook that are pretty much like 2-minute documentaries about whatever the fuck. Oh, Facebook How It's Made. That's right, Facebook How It's Made. If I can remember the show How It's Made from Discovery Channel, where it's just there's the dude talking, there's a really like synth poppy background, and then just video of shit being produced.
Yeah, exactly that. And then it's like their shitty, not peer reviewed, fucking slap together tech is failing to do its job, and then the fucking asteroid hits the Earth and shit. But it's like I love that, like it really is like these fucking people that it's like to me like climate change shit is not really on the individual. Even like switching over to like electric cars and stuff.
No.
Like it's really not on us. Like we're not a factory.
Yeah, I mean, because switching to electrical. I mean, you hear this from every motherfucker that's trying to go against electric vehicles, but it is the truth. Like the coal and oil and other fossil fuels that are burned to produce the electricity to charge the cars is still a problem, and that's like. Yeah.
I will say though, I actually touched on it. I was with that Sony. I was arguing with people.
Oh yeah.
The new electric charger that they are about to unveil, because like Dodge is like the fucking V8 bastion. They so there's a thing called CAFE, right? CAFE is basically like your fleet's emissions have to be at a certain level. Mopar has never been able to make this shit, so they are fined by the government for every car they sell, and they just build the fine into their pricing. Right? Like that's what Dodge is.
Dodge.
People are like hella butthurt, and that's an argument that comes up a lot from pro internal combustion engine people.
Yeah.
But my thing about it is, like, even if that's the case, which it's only like I think like 70% of our power grid is fossil fuel, something like that. Don't quote me, I don't remember. But like, at the end of the day, even the best lithium batteries that power electric cars, they only hold the same amount of joules as like 3 or 4 gallons of gas at best, I believe. Like, it's not a lot of energy compared to like raw gasoline.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, once the energy is produced, it just goes down a fucking power line. There's no more moving the material because like you need an 18-wheeler to get the gas to the station. So even like EVs are just better. It's a far more efficient technology.
It's definitely a way better.
They're grossly fucking inefficient. Like 90% of the energy that's being incredibly generous. It's more like nearly 100% of the energy they produce just gets turned into heat that a system full of dog poison has to dissipate.
Dog poison. Woo!
That's the truth.
Yeah, no, it says can't help it.
It's delicious. The man killed them.
Yeah.
So it's like a horribly inefficient technology, and these people are like, it's not gonna fix the problem. It's not the answer because like car emissions have gotten pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, catalytic converters do their job.
Yeah.
It's big, huge, industrial shits that release a lot of the carbon. It's factory farming that fucks shit up. It's not us individuals, it's the scale.
Yeah, definitely not. No, and that's kind of my point. Like at the end of this is that like it really like it comes down to overhauling our basic or how we attain our basic amenities of life. Like you were saying, factory farming, the way it's done in America currently, kind of. I mean, well, not even America, all over the world. It's just highly fucking inefficient. Mainly, it's really inefficient. I mean, they just try to fucking. They tried to make animals as much like plants as they can. Like I have seen how Purdue farms grow their chicken. I've seen it. Where I come from, there's like 4 of their farms within, I don't know, like a 20-mile radius. And fucking, it's They just look like big old fucking pumpkins. They don't really move much. They just kind of sit there and go, oh, oh.
No, it's a like my friend growing up, like they were like pretty much indentured servants on a fucking chicken farm, and I'd hang out there, and like I thought I was just helping, like because they were the ones that handled the chicken houses, and their responsibilities were pretty much like everything was automatic. Like they're feeding it the chickens and stuff, I believe. Like there was a system in place for that. Yep. So their job was to just mostly go in there and pick up the dead ones and then put them in a dead chicken pile in the back. And there's just
giggity.
But yeah, no, it's like it's like we're not gonna change this shit. And,
no.
It's unreasonable to ask us to change our habits, change the way we fucking eat. Make all these big changes. No. Like, it's ultimately very futile.
Well, yeah, ultimately it requires massive overhaul. Like individual stuff isn't the problem. We need to get to the core, the foundation. Like
but obviously I don't think that's going to change. No one thinks, I don't think anyone's under the assumption that there's going to change in time. We're already like at a point where like, people are like trying to be like apologists for it. It's like, oh, we've hit so many goals, the Earth's only gonna warm up like 1 to 2 degrees Celsius instead of 3 to 5 now. But it's like, dude, that's still not good.
Yeah. I mean,
still.
There's a cycle of climate, and eventually we're gonna get put into an ice age, and it'll reset.
Yeah, no, it's just
who the fuck's gonna survive that fucking ice age.
How difficult do we want it to be for like the rest of humanity? Because we're already starting to see places that are like becoming uninhabitable. Just straight up, you cannot have a life there.
I mean, yeah, but that's more Earth. Earth is gonna do that no matter what. I mean, like, even if we fix our climate, like even if we had perfect climate, Earth still makes some places go bye-byes. Like, there's a reason why we always, as kids, get told about Atlantis. And like everybody's like, oh, it's not real, but nah, that motherfucker's probably in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Like,
got swallowed up.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know. There's like Earth changes, but it takes a long time. And I'm not saying like, I mean, but they always talk about like Miami getting swallowed, like that just feels like whatever the fuck happened, that would probably happen, Like one day, thousands of years in the future, we're going to talk about the lost city of Miami.
Lost city of Miami, man. Florida gets a lot of shit. Florida's cool, man. I like Florida.
Florida is cool, but they did have a dude get videoed eating another guy's face off on his own bath salts, so you can't really come back from that too strong.
They do be throwing alligators in the drive-thru too.
Dude, they be throwing. I've seen so many people throwing an alligator at another person videos recently. I'm just like, what? I don't, and I gotta say, I gotta admit, most of them, not most of them, but they're not all Florida. There's some Louisiana in there, but there's lots of Florida. But like, yeah, dude, people throwing like baby alligators, mid-sized alligators at people. I'm like, what? What are you doing?
It's just customary there, I guess.
You shall feel my wrath.
Fucking gator. Well, I mean, back to like having to like make these, like if we really wanted to like actually mitigate and address the good old climate crisis, we would have to we'd need the government for that.
Yep.
And this is your area of expertise.
Yeah.
And so, I know like right before we started the show, you mentioned to me that, like, just you liked the approach.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. This is my favorite scenes now. We're now done with Jasper's scenes. Now on to mine. Mine is just kind of like the collection of the president in the movie, and then Jonah Hill's character and like their whole cabinet. Like, holy, it was so funny to me to see like what is our reality just visualized in a movie, because politics these days and like government, it's all sound bites like the whole time. The president in the movie, everything that happens, she's just like, that's gonna look great, this is gonna look great, we should spin it like this, we can say this and this and everybody will love it, we can this hashtag, this post, make a video here, take this picture, like that's all it is. And that's what the politics nowadays has really become. Like everything on one side or the other is all just sound bites. It's earworms. It's getting in your head with small, precise wording and just trying to like sniper it into your brain so it stays there. And it's just that's not like there is truly a perfect way to do politics, but I feel that like the current way of soundbite politics is probably the most detrimental that there's really ever been, because it's just so hard to actually find out what a person's about. Like one of the big things about democracy in a whole, and especially representative democracy, where you're electing someone to represent you, you you kind of want to know what that person's about. Like it's required. And nowadays we just can't find out what a person's about. Like all of our politicians are incredibly caught up in like busy, quote unquote, like they just always seem to be doing something. They got this interview, they have that interview, but none of these interviews are more than like 15-20 minutes. But they're probably, I bet you they block them out an hour at a time in their life, so they're spending like probably 10 to 12 hours a day just talking, but they're only saying the same 20 minutes worth of shit for like every 10 hours a day. And that's just so ass backwards to how it should be.
Yeah. Do you think the Bash Man, like being able to get in there, like that, since he's like a platinum level donor, he like clearances and shit, like do you think that was like an accurate, well, how accurate of a portrayal is that for like corporate money and politics? Because I think like you ask any American, we're talking like the most slick brained 57-year-old Trump supporter from fucking Arkansas to a fucking viciously pro environment person like me, will agree on the fact that corporate money in politics fair and bad.
Yeah.
And so like how do you feel about like the coverage?
I mean, that's
that in the movie.
I think that character is honestly just such a great representation for how people get in government. Honestly, not just in America too. Like now, granted, here comes China. China has businessmen in their politics, but it's kind of because their businessmen were politicians. They were born into the quote unquote class of politicians. They were born into the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party, and so they were chosen to be businessmen. Like they were either going to be essentially politicians or businessmen, and so they were like, hey, you go to that side. So their businessmen are heavily involved in politics, but that's their design, and you kind of see that has the same effect as what it has in America. It just really makes shit iffy because people become worried about money and not just the budget of the country, which is politics. You should worry about money, but the money you should worry about is the money in your constituents' pockets and the money in the national treasury. That's the money that our politics should be worried about. But instead, the only money our politicians seem to be worried about is the money in their pockets and none of the rest. Yeah. Like the people around them, the people that give them money, that give them power, they want money in their hands. So we seem to be having this oligarchy of billionaires that are just weaving their way, and most of them aren't ones whose name you know.
Yeah, no, and it sucks that like, and it's like the problem. I think a big problem with disconnecting this country is like the American education system has been a miserable failure for a hot minute.
Yeah.
At least at the public school level, higher education probably.
According to ratings, our higher education's pretty damn good. But
like
our fucking
that, and you might have to take out like a very aggressive car loan at least.
Whew.
You have access.
Now you're gonna get Sally Mae student loans and find out that they actually increase how much you pay over time.
Yeah, no, and they'll sell you to private banks too.
Yep, sell your loans off.
And again, it's just another symptom of how much at the behest of capital that our system works.
Yeah.
And so I appreciated that, that and that working at the behest of capital will doom us all.
Yeah.
As the movie pretty much points out, and I don't know, for me it's very cathartic.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of shows that no matter what position they're in, we shouldn't listen to just one person. Like that's, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what that shit ended up being, is because the money man made the fucking call and it just screwed up. Like everything went wrong.
Yeah, no, and then he got to fly away on his spaceship to go get eaten by dinosaurs.
That shit was like, that was the scene where he like uses the machine to like, get the thing, and he's like, you're gonna be killed by, I can't remember the name, it's something crazy, and like, yeah. And he's like, she's like, what is that? And he's like, I don't know. Well, we'll find out. and then they get on the planet, she walk out, she gets killed, and he's like, well, that's a broad rock.
I don't know. I'm sure like anyone who's like a fucking paleontologist watching that movie knew what the fuck was going to happen to them as soon as he said that there was more oxygen in that atmosphere.
Oh yeah.
That's what made it so we could have like 10-foot long centipedes. Millions of years ago.
Giant. I mean, every insect was just big. We find fossils of insects from millions of years ago because of the carbon, how high the carbon in the oxygen was.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. But so it's like, I'm sure anyone who was like, well, personally, I didn't catch that the first time around, but the second time around, I definitely caught it. I was like, yo,
there's gonna be some big shit. Yeah, I mean, whether it's gonna be dinosaurs or I mean, obviously it was dinosaurs, but like you hear a lot more oxygen, and you're just like, ooh, big stuff. Yay.
That's not good. He said like it was a dub when they got up. It's like, oh, there's more oxygen on this shit. Like, that's how much of a dumbass you are. Yeah. You don't hear more oxygen and see a bunch of fauna and are immediately horrified at like, what is it gonna be out there? But and it's like, I don't know, that scene fucked me up too, because like, you want to root for them because they're the last of humanity. So you have that like instinct to root for them, even though they're like, they made a point to like, they all got other pods, like what their positions were, like oil company guy, bank guy, hedge fund guy. Like those are the people that survive. And I think that like, you could argue it's kind of like the worst group of people to survive the fucking apocalypse, but those are the people with the means to do so.
Yeah.
And, and so at a certain point, like, you want to root for them, because humanity, you want to root for your fellow man, even if they're scum. But then they get eaten by dinosaurs, and that's just so fucking, like, I don't know. I found that scene, like, the first time I watched it, so visceral. That, there's another podcast called Philosophize This, and I listened to it with my partner, Leanna, and he was talking about the ethics of care on one episode, and it's how, like, the idea of rugged individualism is kind of bullshit, because everything that enables us to be who we are is like other humans, like it's the work of other humans. You cannot be us as 21st century, first worlders who have decent means, a lot of shit that we don't take for granted.
Yeah.
So like, if the world gets fucking destroyed and most people fucking die, even if you survive in a fucking bunker, shit will still be fucking bad for you.
Yeah, you're gonna be playing Fallout, but in real life.
Yeah, you'll be playing fucking Fallout. Like, it's not gonna be good. You think of fucking like like how many old people got off the ships at the end of the movie geeked me. It's like, what the fuck are y'all gonna do? You have fucking kids. You're gonna die in, a few years' time, anyways. Fucking old. It's like those motherfuckers in a fucking wasteland. They're dead. They're fucking dead. And I also think that was a nice metaphor for that.
Yeah, no, it was that was yeah, no, it just the wrong people will probably survive. And the people that should have survived died eating dinner around the table like they should still. Like they should survive, but they should also die happy.
Yeah, no, that was a really beautiful scene. Like, what a hell of a redemption arc.
Dude, oh.
Mindy.
I mean,
Remember that last name.
Yeah, Dr. Mindy.
Yeah, I also thought Jennifer Lawrence's character, Kate Dibiasky, was just sick.
Yeah.
But like, that's how I feel on a daily basis about this shit. And I'm probably a little too doomed about this shit. Probably just a little too doomed.
I take my medicines.
But it's like, nah, dude, I'm just screaming that, like where I was gonna die, like, that's me from the bull packs. Although I don't fuck with things like that, it's not for me.
No soul.
But nah, she's a doctoral candidate. She can do whatever drug she wants.
That's fair. I'm just not. Yeah, no. You can enjoy your medicine. I'm just not gonna benzodiazepine my fucking self.
Yeah, no, it's like you're a doctoral candidate. You could do astronomer math, like that. That's like your job. Like, not do whatever drugs you want to have.
Yeah, just keep doing that math. I just need you to keep doing that math.
Yeah, make it so we can eventually go into space one day.
I need you to go into a trailer and start cooking up that math. I want you to make it real strong math, okay? I want it to be the strongest math you've ever seen. I want you to give the entire world your math.
The only reason we have the goddamn computer is just a bunch of fucking math.
Yeah. Math and a gay guy.
Yeah, that too. Like, now, did you hear about the thing where Nexus? I mean, I guess we've talked about the movie this time, dude.
Yeah, we can keep. Yeah, it's time to go to a fucking tangent.
But so there's a company called Nexus Mods, and they have mods for video games on there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Man, recently came to the PC, and motherfuckers were editing out the gay pride flags. Shit. And and Nexus Mods took that shit down. They were like, no, you can't erase the gay pride flag inside of this bitch. Which is like kind of silly, it's more PR shit, because like those motherfuckers are gonna do it anyways, Like there'll be others that can post that shit. I bet, like, you probably still find it if you wanted to.
They're gonna make their own site to host it. They're just gonna be like Spider-Man without kflags.com.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I can kind of, it's like, it's a little, oversteppy, but I get it, because you wouldn't even be a fucking video game if it weren't for the gay people that conceptualize modern computers anyways. So,
yeah, I mean, also, does it really? I don't know. You don't even really super recognize it in the game. I guess they did, but it's just not a big deal.
And I'm not an industry person, so
yeah, I just watched. Actually, I also don't have a PlayStation. Fuck PlayStation. I just watched some fucking YouTube streamer play it.
Yeah.
I think the Rad Brad. Shout out the Rad Brad.
Oh yeah. No, it's they got the esports arena at the cyber cafe. They call it an esports arena, but it's
a cyber cafe. That shit's not an esports arena. That's a lit dream though. I mean, I want them to be an esports arena.
Yeah, I want it to be like an actual arena,
But the only real esports arena is in Arlington, Texas, and Optic fucking owns it. Well, Optic Complexity.
Who has the Cash App compound?
That is the 100 Thieves.
That's such a fucking meme.
Yeah, like, and they. I don't know.
Never mind. I was trying to figure out where I was going with my tangent just now.
I don't know.
There's always that PS5 there.
Oh yeah. PS5s.
Try a PS5. It's like I've never played on one. So I don't know. One of these days, we go in there like, hey, we'll play the PS5 today. I want to try the feedback trigger thing with some shooters. That could be pretty sick.
Oh yeah.
Feature.
A little bit of that feedback.
Yeah, man.
Let them know how you feeling, man. Yeah. Well, anything else big on your mind?
Nope. I think we're. I mean, what's our runtime?
I'm not really sure. Be honest, it's no obvious thing saying how long we've been here. I think it's been about 40, 45 minutes though, maybe a little bit longer. Oh yeah.
That means we could probably fit one more episode into this content cycle.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I hope so.
once trimmed up.